Let's get closer than the photos up there. That's just.
You're pretty close. You're mimicking it pretty well, I would say.
Thank you. Photos taken in different years, but that's okay.
You still look great, though.
Well, I've got a couple months left on the lease.
I'm sorry it's so cold here in Cleveland. I think I saw you guys were we in Orlando together at MegaCon?
Orlando,
yeah.
Humid Orlando, and this is love. Cleveland is great. It's a wonderful town. We love it. People are apologizing for the rain.
We love rain. We shot Grimm for 6 years. We're used to rain.
We're coniferous, if anything, so we need the rain.
A little doom and gloom. You know, I've never heard anybody. It actually makes the bright days better. That you can appreciate those good days when you have the bad ones.
100%. It also lets you kind of get depressed for a day. You know? You kind of.
If it's raining, what would you do? Sit in the corner, read a book, look out the window?
How do I do depression? I think I hold into myself. I go deep,
Turtle.
like a little
Turtle
turtle who's just been startled. And I'll come out for a bite of lettuce. That's it.
I'm the opposite. I'll be in the fridge the whole time. You talk about being on set. What was your guys' first memory and your last memory of being on set? Usually the in-between is kind of muddled for most people, but the first and the last stick.
Well, we did a movie called Carolyn and Jackie together about 6 months before we shot the pilot for Grimm, maybe 9 months before. So we knew each other already because we had done the film. And then I guess the first thing on set wouldn't have been on set. We were kind of exploring Portland when we were filming the pilot, and we went to Multnomah Falls and a bunch of other areas. And we were all staying at the same hotel, and I remember the first night, it was 5 of us who'd gotten in, or maybe it was Silas, Russell, and I guess you and me. I don't know, Sasha and Reggie weren't there yet. And I remember saying to the 3 boys, I'm like, 5 seasons minimum. And they all thought I was nuts. I'm like, I'm telling you, 5 seasons minimum. This show's gonna be a hit.
No, I remember this. This person can tell the future. I remember flying into Portland with you. You were seated next to me on the plane, and we were looking outside the window, as you do. And Portland looks like the closer you get to the city, the greener it gets, which is the opposite of most towns. And you could just see these gnarly woods, and we thought it was the perfect setting for the Grimm fairy tales. And that bodes very well, because a lot of shows miss the mark as far as, like, they're shooting in the wrong location for the tone of the show. And I mean, Portland was absolutely a knockout for that. So that was my first memory. What's your last memory?
Oh my gosh, probably our wrap party for the crew.
Or like, too much fun?
I don't know, it's kind of hard to say because we got married, so like it kind of didn't end. The last memory was right now. Like,
the irony in this fairy tale is that I'm the one who turns into the monster. My last memory of the show was, I think it was our final night of shooting. It was really somber. I was fighting Storer, I believe, in the woods. All of the cast came out, even though it was 4 a.m, which is rare. If they weren't shooting, they would be in bed. And I crashed the Land Cruiser one last time. And I remember everybody just taking photos in the mud and cold, and it was very bittersweet.
So they gave that Land Cruiser to David.
Really?
Yes.
Sold it to me, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes, it sold me, like,
whatever, it was like $200.
Yeah, it was nothing.
It was whatever you had to pay for the title.
The tax.
Yes.
But, so we both were filming separate TV shows in Vancouver, Canada for pretty much the last 6 years. And he had the Land Cruiser just parked on the street, and every so often you'd see people taking photos of it, and I couldn't tell if it was because it's a cool 1989 Land Cruiser, or if it was Grimm fans who were like, oh, that's Nick Burkhart's car from Grimm.
I drove that Land Cruiser for 2 years to and from work in Vancouver, British Columbia. And if people recognized me, and I was in the car, People lost it. But yeah, that car is a broken car now.
That's amazing. How many miles did it have before did you sell it?
Oh, no, it's still in a garage, much to her chagrin.
It doesn't start, so now I can't park my car in the garage.
It starts, it just can't go forward. So I backed it in. We'll figure something out.
One day. There's always something you should have as a goal in mind.
Yeah.
You know? If you were to obtain this Grimm ability, would you deny it, or would you actually accept it and try to pretty much save humanity over and over again?
Me?
Yeah, both of you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in real life, if this happened today.
I liked being Nick Burkhardt. I would accept. I would accept.
Challenge?
I would do a lot less of killing of monsters because that is hard work. But I would accept the bloodline and I would be a little more passive. Yeah.
See, with Eve, it was a lot less, like you expended a lot of energy, and I just got to do the cool, like,
Yeah, you had an easier moment, but I don't know what that would feel like inside of a human body. Presumably a lot of energy goes out. I don't know.
Yeah, but like I don't have to move that much. You know? I could do it sitting down.
Yeah, it's draining, but at least you're relaxing at the same time. If you were to live in an episode on loop, which one would you pick? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite episode, well, the pilot was great and that was fun, establishing the look of the show and all of that. I really liked doing La Llorona, because that was a story that my mom, who's Spanish heritage, had told me to freak the F out of me. And I got to speak Spanish in that episode. And then the most fun any of us had was season 6, either episode 6 or 7, which was the one where was it a love potion and everyone's
It was called Love Blind or Love Struck.
everyone's falling in love with everyone else. Hank falls in love with himself. Monroe falls in love with me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was just, hijinks ensue.
Yeah, it's like, the whole cast fell in love with each other, just different people.
Yeah.
So that was so fun because we were also rarely, and you all are fairly sophisticated viewers and know this, but many people don't. When you're shooting a show, you're not all together all of the time. It's just, it cuts together and it looks like you're all together. But this was a show where we were all in the same location. We were all actually spending the night in a hotel together. It was really fun. And it was outside of Portland. It felt like a 2-day field trip.
And then didn't we do an Apple tour?
Did an Apple tour. It was Silas. It was Monroe, Rosalie,
And the two of
Juliet,
us.
and Nick.
And we took a little train and then did a little Apple tour.
A little Apple tour.
Yeah. It was so quaint.
People loved seeing us all together. It was fun.
Bitsy, you said you speak Spanish.
Yeah,
Do you
I do.
speak fluently Spanish?
I would say I don't. It was my first language, but when we moved, because I grew up in Spain, Uruguay, and Argentina, and when we moved to the U.S., like the rest of my family is still totally fluent, but I was the youngest one, and it drives me nuts. But they weren't speaking it at home in the household. I think because they were trying to integrate us into American culture, and it kind of needed to be reinforced. But whenever I go to Spanish-speaking countries, I get it back pretty quickly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then he discovered the other day that I speak a tiny bit of French.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Bothered me. I'm like, how do you speak? This is another one too?
He's like, how do I not know that? I'm like, I don't know. I just never told you.
Did you take French in high school or anything, or just picked it up?
No, I just picked it up.
Because French and Spanish have like
No,
some
Spanish and
little
Italian
similarities.
are very similar. I don't think Spanish is that close to French at all.
No.
I just picked it up. And what were we watching? And I was translating for you.
We were watching the pilot of the original
Oh.
Little House on the Prairie. No one saw that coming.
Yeah. And then one of the Native American chiefs is speaking French, and I just started translating what he was saying, and David's looking at me like, "Who are you?"
Bothered me.
I love that. You're learning something new every day.
Well, I want to brag. So David, during COVID, he's Italian. His grandfather was born in Italy, and he's realized he could get his EU Italian citizenship if he tried hard enough, and he tried, and he got an appointment and started teaching himself Italian, and would spend an hour every day. And you would finish an app and then start a new Italian app. Taught himself Italian, got his citizenship, just signed with an Italian agent in Italy, just got back from Italy. Our daughter has her Italian EU citizenship now.
Yeah.
And you really went for it.
Be careful what
Yeah.
hobbies you choose, because sometimes you just keep going. Suddenly you're like, have a life in Italy. Anyhow.
It's a great place to have a life in, though. I would
Not
say.
bad.
Yeah. Who was your favorite villain to go up against?
I mean, the OG villain would be the Blue Bod, who was played by Monroe, or who was Monroe, played by Silas Grimm. To me. I also love the Bauerschwein, who were the pig hogs. I really love the original, in the beginning of a series you have nothing but time and money to spend, basically. And we used a lot of practical effects, of practical makeup. And I really loved that. I thought it added to the value of the show.
Yeah, not a lot of shows do that because it's very time consuming and it's expensive, but we had an amazing special effects artist, Barney Berman, who had been nominated for an Academy Award for Star Trek, one of the newer ones. And so we used for the actors, like for example, when Juliet was a Hexen Beast, I certainly did not have time to sit through hours of prosthetics. So they would say, okay, morph time, and makeup would run in and put these little green dots on my face, and then I would go.
Dots.
And then they would, once they had it, as long as I was as the Hexen Beast, I would shoot the scene, and then makeup would run back in and pull the dots off my face and continue. So the only time I ever did the practical prosthetics was, I want to say season 6, episode 11. And I never want to do it again because it actually took longer to take it off than it was to put it on, because it is so on it will rip your skin off unless you do it so slowly and gently. So that was cool, and I tried that, and don't need to do that again.
Did that feel claustrophobic almost?
No, and I'm not claustrophobic at all. It was more I'm impatient, and I was getting so bored. Yeah. And then we wrapped at like 3 a.m. and then we're like, oh no, you have 2 hours of taking it off now. I'm like,
Between seasons 2 and 3, for whatever reason, I watched behind the scenes of the Michael Jackson Thriller video. And there was a scene where they're putting his Thriller eyes into his actual eyes. And they put, giant contact lenses onto his eyes, and I saw tears stream down his face just automatically. And I remember thinking, man, I am glad I've never had to do that. And I got a script for the first episode of season 3 where I'm a zombie. And yep, within a week of seeing that behind the scenes thing, I had to do that with my eyes for a few episodes. Yeah, it was the worst. But it looked very cool and effective, so I was happy.
I'm sure you spoke of your daughter. I'm sure that's something that makes you happy. When you guys aren't working, what's your favorite family activity to do?
we have a bunch. We like living room night, we call it.
What is that?
Living room.
Just
Hanging
no
in the
one's
living
on
room?
their screens and everyone's hanging. She's usually building something with magnetiles.
We're just,
Yeah.
magnetiles are fantastic.
David-
Satisfying click.
David's a big hit. He plays the running game with her, which is just chasing her around the
Just
house.
chase her around. She wants to scare her, and then I scare her way too much, and it's like awful.
Someone got her a really cool little magical potion kit, so she can make these little magical potions, and she made a flying one. So now David has to, and she's 6, she's not small, and she's very tall for her age. Now he has to pick her up when she's like, Daddy, flying potion, like fly her around the house.
It's like, you can't put me down until I say it. I'm like, no, Viv, this is not. We're also just sort of like a tickle fight kind of
Yeah.
dad-daughter. She always wants to wrestle, tickle, play.
It's cuddles with mommy and.
Yeah, I play, she cuddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
That's
also
really
she
close.
destroys my closet, and I'm a little OCD, so I'm like, you've been in my closet.
That's really strong.
Yeah.
And eventually she'll be taking things out of your closet. You'll go, I'm missing a sweater.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Not too long now.
I have some pre-submitted fan questions that we can
Wonderful,
go through if you
let's
would
do
like. Heather in Cleveland would like to know, David, what was it like directing an episode of Superman and Lois? Do you have any fun stories?
So backstory, wonderful question. Mitzi played Lois on Superman and Lois very recently, it just ended this year. And I used nepotism to thank you, I highly recommend it. It's just wonderful.
You can, yeah.
And I got an opportunity to direct this show, and I was a fan of Superman and Lois. I was so nervous. I wanted to do justice. It's such a wonderful show, and I'm not a fan of every show, that I really wanted to honor the show. I was so nervous in a good way, in the right kind of way. It was, from my point of view, your and Tyler's set, and I just didn't want to mess anything up. So I took it extraordinarily seriously, and did a lot of pacing around, and we went. It was wonderful getting to direct you as an actor. Oh my God, it was wonderful. If you haven't seen episode 3 of this past season, Mitzi has to, I don't want to give away major spoilers, but has to go places emotionally that I could never go, and she did it over and over and over and over again. So thank you for making my job so easy. It was a wonderful experience. I could do it all of the time. It would take years off my life, but I would do it. So thank you.
You were talking earlier, Mitzi, about your transformation into a Hexen beast. And Jessica and Akron wanted to know, not only, obviously we talked about the physical change, but emotionally, as David said, how was that for you as an actress to be able to flip the script?
Changing into a Hexen Beast
Yes.
or changing into Eve?
She asked specifically
The Hexen Beast? Well, I was actually kind of excited about it because I did feel, and I'm a doer. And season 1, I was kind of feeling like, all right, what's my purpose on the show? Because right now, I was feeling a little bit passive as an actor, and she was left out of the, I didn't know the secret, and so when the Hexen Beast stuff happened, if you ask any actor who's played either, whatever, a series lead, who's the good guy or the bad guy, which one's more fun? It's always the bad person's more fun. So it was interesting. I mean, that whole storyline I think is a bit polarizing for fans because some fans didn't like the way it ended and whatnot. But I do feel like Juliet had more to do when she was a Hexen Beast. And it was fun. I remember when I had a scene, it was in the spice shop, when I reveal and I vogue for you guys all for the first time. That was fun. And it was emotional, yeah. Because I was not happy about it. The character was like, not stoked. Yeah.
Sure, of course, you don't want that. It's like the worst venereal disease there is. Isn't that how it happened? I can't remember. Who knows? I loved when you had more options as an actor. Because yes, Eve, if you're not a bad guy or a good guy in that show, like in an active fight, you're watching. And when they turned you into Eve especially, that was such a testament to your skills as an actor because they're asking you to play an entirely new being. And they wouldn't have given that to just anybody. So I liked watching you get more opportunities in that way.
I like seeing your guys' love. It's just so cute. You're so supportive. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. Elijah in Lakewood wants to know, Grimm was so cool because it mixed real detective work with crazy monsters. How did you juggle both parts of the show? What was your favorite thing working in that world? Mm-hmm.
I loved being in the precinct. Shooting Grimm, part of the reason it was so beautiful is because we were literally in the woods at night during the rain. So that looks good. And I was aging like an avocado. I was taking it out of me. So whenever we had precinct days, it was just a set.
Yeah.
You're inside.
Stage days, you're
like,
inside.
If
and
it's
warm.
cold, they put on the heat. If it's warm, they turn turn it off. Like, look at this. And it was always Will and Hank, sometimes Captain. I really enjoyed those days. In retrospect, what looks better is the outside fighting, but I remember not enjoying that.
I don't think you answered the question.
What was the question?
How did you juggle both parts of the show? And what
How
was
did
your
I
favorite
juggle
thing
them?
about working in that
The
world?
procedural
Yeah, yeah.
aspect and then the monstery aspect.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I answered the question I wanted to answer. I will say it was very fun for me I was able to do a ride-along with the Portland PD and sort of learn the vernacular, kind of see how it all went down. And the detectives I was riding along with were wonderful. And they said, you can expect this, there's gonna be all this activity, and then all this. And then it started to rain. They're like, everything we said is not gonna happen. There will be no crime tonight. No one goes out when it's raining. I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. Crime doesn't happen when it rains, apparently. So, know that.
That's a good tidbit to take with you. Karen from Parma wants to know, David and Bitsy, you had such great chemistry as Nick and Juliet. How did you build that relationship on screen? And when did you two become close friends?
Well, as Bitsy had mentioned, we worked together prior to Grimm, and we played. I think my character asked you to marry me.
Probably, I think I said no.
I'm sure you said no. You can see it. It's on film. And I was down, but you were currently dating someone else, the director. I think he vibed that. Good man. And when I got Grimm, I think I called you and I said, there's a role for you in this. And yeah, I mean, we were friends in the beginning, and then a few years in, it started getting saucy.
Right, end of season 3.
End of season 3.
Yeah.
No, who's counting? I know exactly when it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, end
But
of season 3.
I had been actively trying to set him up with two girlfriends of mine who were single. And then I was selling him so well that one of them was like, do you like him? And at first I was like, no, he's my co-star. Ew, wait, did I?
So she was direct, I had just gotten out of a relationship, and I was like, yeah, I need your help.
I even got him this book for what was the original?
War of Art?
No, it's like some dumb dating book. Come on, Jennifer Aniston did a movie. It's a dating book. Yes. So the sequel to He's Just Not That Into You is a book called The Breakup Because It's Broken. And I remember I was like, oh, David's upset about this breakup, and I bought you that book, and I slipped it underneath your
really
apartment door, and I was
That's
like,
really
this will
sweet.
help you. Yeah.
You were really, because we didn't like hang out. I was always working. I didn't hang out with anybody on the show. But I do remember you becoming really helpful. We were living on the same floor. She would take me out.
2 apartments down from each other.
Yeah, she would take me out, dress me nicely, and I just kind of went limp and let her fashion me into some kind of stylish man. And I guess you fashioned me into someone that you would be interested in. Advice to guys all the time, just let them lead.
There was, because he's like, oh, you always like preppy guys. And I'm like, no, I don't. Next thing you know, he's in a fisherman's collar sweater.
A Harvard alum.
That's great.
Anyhow, that's how we built the chemistry.
Ryan in Menor wants to know, David, Grimm's got such a mix of intense emotions and lighter scenes. How did you switch between those different tones, especially in Nick's most emotional scenes?
Well, thank you. Good question. I did not switch well between them. I love the light. I just wanted more of that because it really can wear at you after a while. And again, helped the aging like an avocado situation. I preferred the light. You do the dark when you have to.
We all do, don't we?
Yes.
Emma in Strongsville wants to know, Bitsy, Juliet went through a lot dealing with the supernatural. Was there a moment in the show that made you feel really proud of how Juliet handled everything?
I mean, listen, Juliet kind of got the shaft. She did. Let's not pretend like she didn't. What happened to her and the way that the relationship kind of fell apart was not cool. And so I think she handled it as well as she could have. I know she was, bitter, and then I think I thought the whole rebirth sort of, because I really played 3 different characters on the show. I played the original Juliet, then the Hexabeast Juliet, and then Eve, and that really was intriguing to me because they had sold it as like a femme Nikita kind of character. So I was watching the original Nikitas to kind of get into character. But you do what's written for you as an actor, and you do your best.
Yeah. I swear that is true to every day. You just try to do your best.
Yeah.
Even at whatever you're doing. Logan in Warren wants to know, David, Nick's bonds with his family and team were such an important part of the show. How did you navigate those relationships, especially as Nick got deeper into the supernatural world?
I think every show that is worth its weight is ultimately a family show. It's about family, even when it's not family. It's your colleagues, it's your, the guys in the precinct, the Blue Baden, it's family. How did my character navigate it? I'm just gonna answer what I want to answer.
Go ahead.
Not a bad question though.
Well, listen.
No, I think the very cool thing was we were all on location in Portland, and these relationships really did build, and we all became very tight. It's not always that way, especially when, say, it shoots in LA and everybody goes off. You go to work and then you go home and you go off in your own world. We all were each other's world. So the relationships built in a very authentic, organic way. And, I just do whatever they asked me to do in the script. So I didn't really have to navigate anything. I just accepted it and whatever. But the friendships were so real, and we all still get together to this day. We were just at Sergeant Wu, Reggie Lee's house the other day with the guy who plays Monroe and Rosalie and the creators of the show and Itzy and myself. It's just a wonderful treat, and it's a family.
And it translates well on camera. When it's actually genuine and real, we all feel it through the screen.
I think so.
Yeah.
Though I love hearing when it's not going well. Oh, that's so fun to hear. Anyhow.
Have you ever had any fails that you feel turned into successes?
No, I mean, sometimes you're not as good friends with someone for whatever reason, but no, it's usually shows I've heard about. I'm like, oh my God, that is awful.
You like the
I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah. We all like that.
And they're in love on screen? Oh.
And Tyler from Cleveland Heights says, looking back at Grimm, what's one behind-the-scenes memory that stands out? Which we've talked about a few, but...
I was a child, and probably still am. So I was bored. I would just mess with people. And for whatever reason, we were outside, we were running out of time. Bree had only one take to do this really important moment, and she had to say something intense and open the car door. But for whatever reason, I saw lotion, and I just put lotion all over the inside of the car door. Thinking, I'm a little brother, I have 3 sisters in real life. Thinking this is funny, but then she had to go for the door. She has one take. I see something flicker inside of her, and I know she hates me. She has to do the take with just Jergens lotion all over her hand, and we'll talk about that to this day. A prank. What was I thinking? What about you?
The crew pranked you once. They put photos of. Who was it? Everybody had a crush on you, and then One Direction came out, and then they were teasing Nick, because originally the first few seasons of the show, everyone's kids were in love with Nick Burkhart, and then One Direction. So at some point, someone came in and plastered your trailer with, I think, Harry Styles.
500 photos.
On the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls, just everywhere.
And they were, whoever did it, was so happy that I was happy about it.
I pulled off the best prank of all time, though.
I remember
on
the car.
you. So David got, far into the show. He's like, I've been working my ass off. I'm gonna get a nice car. He got an Audi.
I drove a crummy car for a while and I loved it. And then at one point, one of our transpo guys, Larry, he's like, "So David, you're not getting your paychecks?" "Do I have to get a new car now?" Anyway, keep going.
So he gets an Audi.
Shamed you.
And I had already been driving an Audi, and the keys looked the same. I was driving an SUV, and he had a sporty one, and I'm like, oh, the keys look the same. Huh? Okay. And he had just gotten the car the day before, so I knew he wouldn't really know how it worked entirely yet. And he was so proud of it, and all the transpo guys that morning were showing
was
like
trying to be cool in front of the transpo guys.
The transpo guys were like looking at it, and he's showing off and all this stuff. So I go into his trailer and I take his car key, and then I take my car key. I put my car key right visible, right so you see it. And then I take his car key, I lock the car, and then I run and hide under a tire under the wardrobe trunk to film this because the day is over. And he's kind of taking his time. I remember videoing this for like 10 minutes. I was like, oh my god, how long does it take to get out? So he comes out and he comes and he's like, bye transpo, I know, cool car. And he's like, it's supposed to open, right? I see my key. And then he goes around and he's like, it's good. He opens the other one, it's a two-door car, and he's like, it's not. He's like, guys, I see the key. Like, isn't it supposed to automatically detect? So this goes on, and I just was eating it up. And then at some point he gave up and was gonna get a ride home from transpo. At which point I sprung out from behind the wardrobe trailer, told him what I had done, said I had it all on video.
That was during our courtship phase.
That's phenomenal. I love a good prank. Before I let you go, I'll ask you a couple rapid fire questions.
Please.
Not many folks would watch Grimm on repeat, but what movie or show would you watch endlessly?
Waiting for Guffman, the movie. If you haven't seen it,
I was like,
watch
wow, I
it.
haven't heard that in
Oh
a
my
long
god, it's
time.
fantastic. Go.
Or show.
American Office too.
I like Gladiator, I like Braveheart. I really like Shrinking. I'm into Shrinking. It's just a happy show. I watch a lot of documentaries. I pretend every night that when we're going to bed, I'm like, enough, I have to solve a murder mystery.
Solve a crime.
Like, I'm gonna solve, what was the one that I said, last night I was like, excuse me, I have to solve the Charles Manson murders.
48 later.
I need 1 hour and I'll have it done. If you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cheese.
Just a cheese platter.
Cheese and pasta.
She eats like a 7-year-old.
Chicken nuggets.
Oh yeah, I eat goldfish every night.
A raccoon got into her. I wake up in the middle of the night. She just is like drawers open, like a slightly domesticated bear.
I get the snackies late at night. It's a problem.
But feed me meatballs, people, all day long. I'm an Italian. I ordered them last night.
Yeah.
I love myself a meatball.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Our last question before I let you go.
Talk to me.
Obviously, being a Grimm it was destiny for Nick. Do you believe in fate and destiny?
Me? I wish I believed in that stuff. I don't believe in destiny or fate. When I do, though, it feels really nice. You know?
I mean, who knows? But can we talk really quickly about the Grimm reboot?
Dodging it.
So, I don't know. I know a little bit. David's the only one who's met with this wonderful new writer, Josh Berman, who's developing it, and the script was at the studio, which I want to say is Universal, but I'm not sure. But now it's at Peacock. But thank you to all of the loyal fans, and also people who are newly discovering it, because here we are 8 years later, and there's
really
a script that's at Peacock that would be a reboot of Grimm.
And if I had to put my money down, I would say a movie's definitely. I would put my money on it's getting made, you know, then hopefully a series. But really, yes, well done, Bitsy. Thank you to the fans here. it's remaining popular. I'm stunned that it's still out there and finding new people, and I'm so happy.
It's a
And
good
it's
show to
wonderful
binge, and also people like watching it as a family.
It also
Yeah.
has a world to it, which
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
important, and I
Yeah.
hope it stays that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys stay this way. You're fabulous. Thank you so much for sitting
Thank
with us
you so
today.
much. I'll see you.